You are listening to the Spiritual Warrior Coach with Barbara Savin, the podcast for discovering how powerful your wisdom, compassion, and courage is. Get ready to join Barbara and her guests as they explore and offer you advice on how to reclaim your power, your energy, and your authentic self. And now, here's the host of the show, Barbara Savin.
Well, thank you for joining me today, and welcome to the Spiritual Warrior Coach podcast. I am your host, Barbara Savin, and I am here to help you reclaim your power, your energy, and your authentic self. I am a certified clinical and medical hypnotherapist, Reiki master and teacher, energy healing specialist, life coach, and best-selling author of Gentle Energy Touch, the Beginner's Guide for Energy Healing. You know, I have been helping my clients for over 35 years, and I always mention to them how important it is to think positive and to believe in yourself. You know, your mind is going to provide you with your greatest challenges in life because it's so very, very powerful. So let's use that mind for positive thinking, creating harmony, balance, peace, love, health, and anything else that your heart desires. Because one day the world will tap you on your shoulder and say, this is your time to shine. And boy, speaking about shining, I'm going to bring on my guest right now. Hello, Carrisa. How are you?
Hey, Barbara. I'm wonderful. It's so great to be here with you. I've been really looking forward to our chat.
Oh, thank you. Me too. Believe me. So let me tell my listeners a little bit about you. Carrisa Montooth, she is a love coach, a healer, an author, and an international speaker. Carrisa holds advanced degrees in psychology and counseling and has written extensively about topics relating to relationships, love, personality types, personal development, and the power of creating change through mindset shifts. Carrisa is also a certified Awakening Dynamics energy healer practitioner and a sixth-generation healer. Oh, welcome, Miss Healer. How are you?
I think that's such a lovely thing that we have in common is that we come from a generation of people who were spiritually awake.
Oh, I know. So you're sixth generation. So who in the family were healers? And when did you know that you had this ability?
Well, everyone was on my mom's side. So going back to my maternal grandmother, my mom, my maternal grandmother, her grandmother, her grandmother, her grandmother, and my grandmother back. And they were, you know, back then people didn't think of them as healers, and they didn't talk about energy and those kinds of things. So they were naturalists, you know, or they were herbalists, or they were dowsers and they could find water, or they were midwives. And we were always sort of that family that you kind of like, you may sort of just nod at them in public, but maybe you sneak over there after the sun goes down and get some help for what's going on in your life. You know, they founded churches, but then they also were practitioners of energy healing, natural healing, herbal medicine, all of those kinds of things. And for me, my sort of connection to that, you know, growing up, I always thought it was kind of weird.
I know that feeling. Really weird.
So I was like, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to help people in a way that's legit. So I got my degree in psychology and I got my degree in counseling. And then I started to teach in a college, in a community college. And I was teaching a course that was about matching your personality type and values with your career, which is what my first book was about. And people were coming up to me. What I found was women were coming up to me after class and they were like, this personality type stuff is so interesting. I think I'm this personality type and my boyfriend is this personality type. How should we talk about moving our relationship along? Or do you think we're actually going to be compatible enough that we can stay together? They'd ask all of these questions that were about relationships and love. And I would think, I know I can help you, but not in this setting.
It's a little tough when you're in school. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's that kind of thing where you kind of try to run away from it. And it's like, at a certain point, you're like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing,
Isn't that a beautiful thing when we finally realize our authentic self and we say, all right, I have to put this all aside. This is who I really am, and just go for it. Not be afraid that, yeah, you may have your ups and downs with it, but the end result is beautiful when we're of service to truly helping people that really need the help.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And even at the beginning of sort of like my journey as a professional healer, I wasn't thinking of myself as a healer because I was thinking, well, who am I to say that I'm a healer? Like that sounds, who am I to say that? And so I was just looking at it more from the coaching side of things. And I had come from academia. So I was like, let me just make sure, even if I'm looking at energy healing, I look at things like baseline and all these kinds of, what are the scientifically verified forms of energy work and those kinds of things. But in the beginning, when I was just thinking of it as coaching, I had a client who was so heartbroken about a relationship that ended. And we had maybe 4 or 5 sessions together. And then at one point I said, I know something that can help you, and it's going to seem a little bit weird, but would you mind if we did this together?
That's my line also.
And she was open to it, which was really lovely. So we did. And then the next time she came in, she said, I don't know what you did last time, but we should do that every time.
It's amazing when they realize what you really do, that it works so much better than the traditional things that are out there.
So much. I think because what we do really goes into the level of subconscious and spiritual change, deep change. So it's less about trying to overcome some kind of psychological resistance we might have to something. It's different. We're not trying to just talk to people about changing their minds about something. We're helping them actually heal wounds that are impacting how they're making choices in their lives or what they're attracting to themselves.
Exactly. It's about that root cause, which a lot of people tend to not even dig deep enough for it.
Yeah.
And then we realize, well, now that we found this, here's your choice. Do you want to hold on to it and still be a victim because you're used to it, or finally allow yourself to release it and let it go so that you can heal?
Yeah.
So that's what, energy healers and also what you do, like coaching. Yeah. It really helps people there's no doubt in my mind it works.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I think both are so important for the work that I do, because I'm always thinking about how do we not only help this person to attract the love that they want to have in their lives, but how do we help them become the person who sustains that love?
Exactly. Now, I'm sure in your what you do, because I know with myself, mostly the girls, the women more than the men, but there's so many women that go on these dating apps and they tell me they've gone on these dating
horror
apps.
Stories, right?
I know the horror stories are like crazy. That they lie, or when they finally meet them in person, they're not the same person as the picture. So, I mean, it amazes me why these dating apps are so bad.
Well, I think part of it is, and this is one thing that I always tell my clients, I say, if you don't want to date online, but it's something that you think that you have to do because there's this little voice in the back of your head that says, I'm going to miss out if I don't do this. No one will ever find me. Please don't do it, because that's not the energy of fear that I'm going to miss out, or this energy of feeling kind of desperate, or like, maybe I should be doing something. I should do something, which is kind of a byproduct of our hustle culture. When we bring that into a dating app, it's like who you are, like, energy doesn't lie.
No.
Right. So who you are in person is who you are in an app. Right. So if you have these beliefs, or you have these fears, or you have these wounds, these beliefs that say things like dating is hard, dating is impossible for me, love always is hard. Love, I need to settle because of my age, or I need to settle because I'm a single parent, or all of those things. We're bringing all of those fears and things with us into dating apps. Even things like the dating pool shrinks after a certain age, or the dating pool is harder for me because I'm successful and I'm high achieving. There are just certain beliefs that we have that we bring in with us, and it influences our experience. It definitely impacts what we're attracting to us on those apps. And my clients don't generally do that. My clients, about almost 90% of my clients are in happy, healthy relationships within about 6 months of our work together, and they don't go on dating apps. It's very rare that I have somebody go on a dating app.
That's
And it's usually because they're used to feeling busy. Like they feel like they have to be doing something. And I'm always telling them, you don't make love happen, you make love welcome.
Yes.
You make it welcome. And if they can kind of receive that and be still for a minute, and we can go inward and heal some things, then they usually find that their person comes into their life, in one of three ways. And it's usually not online dating at all.
No, it's not. And I always tell them, be open to receive. And when you least expect is when it's going to happen, because
Absolutely.
you're not putting that desperation energy out there.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I've noticed that, and they'll tell me, I was in Barnes and Noble or wherever, and I was looking for a book, and
I wasn't even thinking about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then we sat for 3 hours and had coffee. And so see, there you go, because you weren't thinking, and you weren't desperate.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
that's the key. And you were just being you.
That's such a huge thing. And I'm so glad that you said that. Yeah. Because when we're not thinking so much about, I hope that I get chosen. I hope that, because we're thinking so much, I think in those situations, will someone like me? Will someone choose me? We're so worried, like what they're thinking about, especially women generally think that way when it comes to love and romance. And they're not usually just kind of, it's harder for us. I think we're not really socialized to be in our own kind of strong sense of self and to decide whether we want to be in a situation or not. And also to just decide that we are enough. I've heard some wonderful quotes, and I love what I'm seeing in some of the stronger women that are coming up in like these next generations, because they're saying things like, when they get asked, what are you looking for in a man? They're like, I'm not looking.
You're not looking.
I don't look. I love that.
Yeah, not like this older generation. I mean, a lot of my clients are like anywhere from like 10 years old up to 90. But I've noticed the ones that are divorced and are in the like 40s, 50s, they're so worried that they're getting old. And that, how am I going to, I don't want to attract somebody who's 60. Well, but you're putting it out there already. And that's what you're going to attract,
because you don't get what you want, you get what you focus on.
Exactly.
Right. So they're just going, don't send me someone 60. Don't send me someone 60. Don't send me someone.
and then there comes the 60-year-old or 70.
And the universe is like, someone 60. Got it.
Yeah, the universe is.
And what I think that's so funny about that too is like, I think someone 60, I heard you. Sending it, but it's so funny to me too that like so many of my clients who are maybe in their like mid 50s, maybe early 50s, whenever we create love lists, which is like part of their clarity for them, like, well, what does a healthy relationship look like to me? What are those qualities? And we focus on areas of compatibility first, and look at those things. But it always is interesting to me that they either never think about age, or they ask for someone younger than them. And I was so intrigued by that. And I asked a client recently, so why is it that if you're 55, you're saying, I want someone who's in their 40s? What is it that you think, what is it that attracts you about someone who's so much younger than you? And they'll say, well, I think I'm a really youthful 55. And I don't think that there are 55-year-old men who are as youthful as I am. And I'm like, well, maybe that's where we need to start. is this belief that says there's nobody out there who's like me.
Yeah, right.
There's
a lot out there like us.
Yeah. And I always think too that it's like the kind of like the ease of having someone in your life who understands where you are in your life and has similar priorities to you, similar goals to you, and also gets your references. I think those things are really important.
It is. Yeah. Some women, I look and I say, wow, I think we're trying a little too hard, or you have all these things that you're looking for. Maybe you need to be a little flexible.
Yeah.
I think flexibility is the key, and don't take it so hard.
Yeah.
Just go with the flow of it, because I call it spiritual timing.
Absolutely.
When the timing is right, it'll happen. But if you're looking to force it, and the desperation, nothing's going to happen. All the wrong people.
Well, that's the other thing, right? You can force it, but you won't really like the result.
I know. And,
right?
So many of them tell me that they're constantly attracting the wrong type of person over and over and over again.
But it's the same type.
Yes,
over and over again. And I always gently explain, you may be since you're the common denominator in these situations, there may be some beliefs that we want to dig into about what you think is possible for you in love, or what you think is out there for you in love, or even things we go back to clearing and healing things from childhood, from mom and dad, because there are number one and number two that taught us what love was supposed to look like, or what relationships or marriage was supposed to look like, or what a wife does, or what a girlfriend does, or any of those kinds of things, what a husband does, and it's just, there's so much that we're carrying with us into that relationship. There's so much of a what is the term I'm looking for? Like we're looking at it through a certain perspective. We're always bringing our own perspective through it. And if we've got things that haven't been healed, then we're going to keep what's the my mom and my grandma always said I was really diplomatic in the way I explain things. You will keep being invited to heal that particular issue.
And it's usually always the bad boys. I mean, it's or bad girls. I mean, it's either or.
Yeah, or it's like a dad figure. It's like I'm gonna get the approval of this person because my dad. That's what feels like love to me. Trying to get the approval of this person who always was emotionally distant, or it's like so many ways that people are reliving that challenge from the past and feeling like this time I'm going to get it right. This time I'm going to fix it, and
well, I always tell them, just be mindful and more aware, and we all know there are red flags that show up in all relationships.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So gotta really be, those red flags are there for a reason. And after like maybe a few times, maybe it's time to step away and break it off.
Well, the red flags that we ignore in the beginning are the reasons that we break up later, right? So, yeah.
Do you get a lot of people that tell you they've seen the red flags, they know they're there, but they've ignored them?
Oh my gosh, Barbara, people tell me in the first 5 minutes of our conversation everything that I need to know about the relationship, and even the things that they know where they're like, I mean, I've had people sit down and say, so I went to pick him up and he was in a mental health facility, but he was an outpatient. And so I had to pick him up and drive him. We went out on our first date, and I'm like, let's talk about this first. Let's come back to this thing. But people will tell me in the first 5 minutes the things that they know are red flags. And it'll be maybe the first time that we've even talked. And it's kind of like, do you remember When Harry Met Sally?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that where Carrie Fisher's character was like, he just bought a dining room table with his wife. I don't think he's ever going to leave her. And Sally's like, no one thinks he's ever going to leave her. And she's like, you're right. I know you're right. You know what I mean? But she still keeps doing it. It's like this running joke, and she still keeps doing it. And that's just what we do. You know, it's so hard. That's why I think healers, you know, need other healers too, because we all have blind spots. You know, we all have blind spots. And I feel so grateful to know so many people that are like a healer's healer. You know, and I think that you're that kind of a person too, where, you know, the people who work with you are healers too, you know.
I've trained many of them, and and every now and then I say, you know, I think can we do a healing on me? You know,
you can trade.
Trade healing. It's a wonderful thing, isn't it?
It's beautiful because we all have the blind spots. You know, I remember one of mine had to do with early on not realizing the impact of being an empath on my ability to work with clients, because I was having a really difficult time having clean energy hygiene. So maintaining my own boundary and not picking up their stuff. And it would make me like, I had to understand that if I sit down and cry next to you, I can't help you get out. Right. If we're both in this hole together, I can come down in this hole together. I can help you out. But if I just sit down and cry with you, you're not going to get out. You know, that's not helpful to you.
No, I
actually went through a period where I would just get more and more. I became so exhausted over like a 2-month period. And I was so fortunate to have a healer that I worked with that said, oh, you have an angel committee and they want you to stop and get this boundary in an appropriate way, because if you keep doing this, you will burn yourself out energetically and not be able to help anyone, including yourself.
Oh, without a doubt. That's why I you know, some of my friends say, how do you sit there and listen to all these real heavy problems? And, you know, how do you do healing? Well, we have feelings and emotions, and I am very empathetic and I feel, but 500% need to remain detached.
Yeah.
Because if we're not detached, then that energy starts to pick up. We start picking it up. And then what good are we to them?
We can't help.
So, you know, I always, you know, put myself in, you know, a protective shield. I always say prayers, and I'm sure you do the same. So this way my energy stays with me and all the love still comes in and out, but all that other stuff stays to where it needs to, so that I'm able to help that person with any of their challenges that they may have.
Yeah. And that makes it so you can see really clearly what's needed. And you're not projecting things and making assumptions about a situation. I remember before I understood, I'm so grateful to have a background in psychology and counseling, because it was so helpful in terms of an ethical healing perspective, you know, and understanding things like that, like consent, even to connect with someone's energy. Because I remember having a friend of mine was trying to help her boyfriend get a job. And she was like, she said, is there anything that you can do that would be helpful for him? And I said, well, do I have his permission to connect to his energy to even like see what's going on? And she was like, oh yes, absolutely. You know, I'll talk to him and I'll let you know. So she talked to him, she let me know. And I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do that now remotely and see if there's something that I can help with. And it was 15 minutes of the worst headache that I'd ever had in my entire life.
Oh, boy, that's not good.
My head hurt so bad. And when I got back in touch with her, and I was like, okay, so I don't know what's going on. It was very hard to see anything. I saw a couple of things, but it was really, really difficult. I said, are you sure I have his consent?
Probably not.
Well, I told him that you were going to pray for him. And so I'm like, oh my God.
That's not the same.
That's not the same thing. It's like, no wonder. Because the instant that I was like, okay, break that connection. Let me ground again. I was like everything cleared up. The headache left, you know, but it's like in that moment, oh my goodness, like and not even just to protect myself, but I have had situations where, you know, I've had people even try to connect with me energetically without my consent and have it be a thing, you know, you don't really want everybody to connect.
No, not at all.
Even
Not
in the
anybody.
Bible, it says like, let no man lay hands upon you suddenly. Like that's what I think.
Same thing energetically.
Yeah, energetically is the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Boy, is it ever. Yeah. It's like, every now and then those little psychic attacks do come, and I said,
Yeah.
Actually, I had one last night in the middle of the night, and woke me up, and I says, okay, all right. So who are you? You're probably not going to tell me who you are. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be in the middle of the night. And I started my, I have a thing that I always say, all power is of God. What is not of God has no power to do anything to me. And so I kept on saying a lot of my prayers. And I said, you need to leave. I've acknowledged you. I know you're here, but you're not allowed to stay.
Yeah.
And I sent it, away with love and light and healing. So yeah, we do get, and people that date other people that their energies are very heavy, that happens to them also. So it's not
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. When people are dating, and there is a thing, I try to approach this so people understand it's not from a perspective of like being a prude sexually, right? But when you have sex with someone, there are so many things that are happening. There are things that happen energetically. There are all the things we know about physiologically, right? There's like the oxytocin that happens with the orgasm and all those things. And then the oxytocin is that bonding hormone that makes us feel like it's you and me against the world and all of those things, right? And that's like, that happens to women. Men don't release a flood of oxytocin. Men release a flood of dopamine, which just goes, that was amazing. Like that felt great. That's what dopamine is, right? So it's like, and then the oxytocin stays in our system for like 2 weeks, and it's like, that's just the physiological part of things. That's not even what's going on in energy and what's going on spiritually, is that sense that we are picking up things that this other person has. And even the fact that we've attracted this person into our lives is like, well, what if we have wounds that we haven't healed? Which wound was the wound that they came in that matched them in energy, I always explain to people, if you don't heal, a grief wound from a breakup, you're going to attract people that give you more to grieve.
Oh boy, that's the truth. Boy, I have a client right now that's all that she's going through. She lost her husband. Yeah. And I feel in my heart she hasn't really, they were married like 35 years or 40 years. They were married a very long time. She's in her early 60s. And I know she hasn't grieved. And now she's meeting people that are now she's having to, go out and break up. And now she's grieving these people that she's dating. Yeah. And I look and I feel horrible for her. Yeah, of course. But I tell her, you need to get rid of this first and heal this first in order for you to actually find a meaningful relationship without also you feeling that you're too old at this point and just, grasping for anything out there. Yeah. It's hard.
It's really hard. It's so hard, whether it's a grief wound that someone needs to heal or two other wounds that I've seen that are really powerful in women are, there's an anger wound that happens, but because of patriarchy and sexism, it's kind of like it usually presents as a sadness wound because our sadness isn't threatening to people, but our anger is. So whenever there's like a depth of sadness, I'm always kind of sensitive to the fact that there may be anger under that someone's actually feeling like it's not safe for them to express. So we need to get to that. And the other one is shame. Oh yeah, that's a big one. Yeah, those are so huge. And it seems like until those things are dealt with, it's just so hard to, and the other thing is, and I know that you tell people this all the time, I'm sure, is that you don't have to be 100% healed in order to have healthy things come into your life, because no one is. Yeah. It's impossible. Just
I'm
like
not
you don't,
even after all these years.
no one is.
No.
And anyone who tells you they are, you should run the other direction.
Yes. Run. Don't even look back.
Run. Yeah.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Yeah. And you don't even need to be 100% positive all the
Mhm.
time, you know, because that's
Yeah.
unnecessary and impossible and not a human being, you know, part of our natural wonderful human nature, you know, like, but it's like, yeah, some things though, they do have to be addressed, you know, so that we can get to the thing on the other side,
Yeah.
especially in love.
Yeah. And it's, it's hard to find that person that you really connect with and really truly love,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think that people think that they need to be busier about it. Like
mm,
they think that they should put themselves out there more, you know, and they think that they need to be more active about it a lot of times before they've actually dealt with the energetic stuff behind it. Because, like, I know for me, you know, even just for me, my partner came to my house.
how did that happen?
So, and the three ways I see people meet over and over and over, like hundreds of people. And when I started to keep track, the people I was working with, I was like, oh, they're falling into these three categories over and over again.
Mhm.
And none of those were go find the person. Like one of them is that it's somebody from their past that they didn't think of that way. They didn't think of them in a romantic way.
Mm.
And now that they've healed, that person shows up again. So it might be like when our kids were in school together, we were both married, you know, we were neighbors or whatever. We didn't think of ourselves that way. But then as we grew up, we both got divorced, you know, now our kids are older, maybe they're in high school, maybe they're in college. And now this person comes back into their life, or somebody like from high school, you know, who maybe always had a crush on this person and didn't ever tell them, you know. So it's like someone from their past, or it's someone that they see. The second way is like it's someone they see every day right now and just never think of them that way.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, and it's like as soon as they're healed, it's like what you were saying about the bad boys. Like as soon as they're healed, because that person's not a bad boy, so they can't see them till they heal.
Mhm, mhm.
And then they're like, maybe someone who treats me well is actually a good thing. Maybe it's someone who's unambiguous about their feelings about me and their intentions for our relationship is actually a good thing. Maybe getting off the roller coaster is actually attractive, and that's what I actually want, you know? So it's like once they're healed, they can see that person.
That yeah, without a doubt. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I know I get some of my women clients are, my God, they are very successful.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
They tell me that many a times the men sometimes feel intimidated.
Well,
Their success. I mean, what do you tell them? You know,
I tell them that those aren't their men.
Yeah, well, yeah, they're not.
I tell them that strong women intimidate boys and excite men.
Yes, well, that's the truth. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
But the thing that I find often is because so many of my clients are really high achieving women as well. And it's like they will get into a cycle where it's like they'll come out of a situation where it was like, oh, that was difficult. We broke up, whatever. I knew I should have broken up with him a long time ago. I finally did. I'm just going to focus on my career. I'm going to focus on work. My work takes most of my time anyway. I'm really good at what I do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is a world that I'm really comfortable in. And then they'll be great. They'll be doing really great there. And then someone they know will get married or engaged, like a good friend that's like their age, or they'll have a birthday that ends in a 0 or that ends in a 5. And they'll be like, this isn't where I wanted to be. I wanted to be further along in my life by this point. And that's when they start to go back to dating apps, or they date somebody who's a lot younger than them, who is physically, you know, in terms of their sexual relationship with that person, it's like fantastic, but that person really can't keep up with them in terms of what they want in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll do that until they can't really do that anymore, you know, because they want to move forward and they know that this person, because the thing about this, the story that a lot of times women are telling themselves about, like, these men who are on my level are intimidated by me, the thing in the back of their mind goes, well, then I should date someone who's a little lower than me and on my, not quite on my level then, because he'll just be impressed by me.
Right.
But then what that means is they kind of end up paying that person's way, because that person can't really keep up with their lifestyle. And it's like, they want to travel and they want to do these things and they want to do those things. And then they get tired of paying that person's way, because they're like, I'm not their mom, I'm their partner. And I want to be, a lot of times women will explain it to me, and I completely understand what they're saying in the context of what they're saying, but they'll say, I want to get to be the girl in my relationship.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You know, and I get that. They're just talking about feminine energy and being able to receive and feeling, you know, a sense that there's like a secure container for them to be able to be in softer feminine energy when they want to be, you know, and they're usually in these positions where they are making decisions all day long about things. And they're like, I don't want to make decisions to be responsible for all of the decisions in every area of my life. You know, I would like to be able to trust someone else, you know, to drive, even just to like drive us somewhere.
Actually, I drive all the time. I don't let him drive. But that's beside the point.
Well, it's funny that that's such a big pet peeve for so many of the women that I work with. And I know that it is a thing about, you know, being high achieving and having a certain measure of success, is that there's this thing of like, I don't want to have to do everything in every part of my life. I don't want to be in charge in every area. And because there are so many mixed messages about like, you're supposed to be independent and that's good for you and you're doing all these things. But there's also like, but am I so independent that I have somehow aced myself right out of being able to be in a relationship?
With some women
are real fear.
Yeah.
And so we clear
my
those.
My daughter could be that way. So independent. I mean, just so independent. I mean, this is her second marriage, and you know, with both my son and my daughter, their second marriages. I would always tell them, you know, you're living in a house with this person, and you make sure that everything is like 50-50. You don't need to do everything, you know. And the same with the guys, you know, the other person lives there too. So make sure you guys set boundaries and take responsibility, you know, for everything, so that you don't. My daughter has a tendency to sometimes be like super woman, you know, and then you end up, you know, with burnout, you know, and then it's all the blame game and stuff. So, you know, it's important to set the boundaries and it's okay, you know, like I even tell myself, I don't need to do the checkbooks and do this and do that. Yeah, you can take care of this for me.
Yeah, splitting it up in a way that works for everybody. Like these are your strengths, these are my strengths. I like doing this thing. You like doing that thing. So let's do it that way.
Yeah. Like I tell him, could you please vacuum? Because I don't like to vacuum. And that it works out fine.
It works, right?
As long as
my aunt and uncle, my uncle loved to cook. My aunt really didn't care about cooking. My uncle did all the cooking because he loved to cook and he was a great cook, you know?
So it's nice to share responsibilities.
Yeah.
And do you find that, you know, like when women start dating, they have a tendency not to do that or?
Well, I find that when women start dating, they do one of two things. Either they're bringing their pain from or fears from a past breakup into the new situation, right? And really kind of, I call it dumping their purse out on the table. So I'm
that's a good one.
I'm like, you know, not everybody needs to see everything that's in your purse, and especially not on a first date.
Yes,
and there's some people that will never need to see what was in your purse, you know. But it's this idea of like what they do is come in and they go, look, you know, I just don't want to play any games. I want these things in a partner. So if you're not about that, then let's just not waste anybody's time right now. And I get that it's from this energy of like, I don't want to be hurt again, but it's really kind of like immediately puts the other person on the defensive. And it starts to feel like there's not like dating should just be fun. It's really not a relationship. Dating is just dating. It's like, I'm getting to know you to decide if I, you know, want to have a relationship with you. And that takes time because I'm not going to get to know you all in one night. And I might not, after one night, everyone see you again. So, you know, it might not really matter whether you like me or not, because I might not really like you, So we don't have to decide this tonight.
Well, that's it. And sometimes, like I have, sometimes they tell me, oh, we had a great time together, but he doesn't answer my text messages, or he hasn't texted me for another date or something. What do you tell them? I mean, chances are, maybe he's just it's not
Not
there.
that interested.
Yeah.
Well, I tell women to think about, I tell them dating is not a relationship. Dating is not a relationship. A relationship is about exclusivity. A relationship is about commitment, right? Dating is literally just us getting to know each other and hopefully having a good time while we do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a job interview. It's not like any of that. It's really just like, and literally even, I have a lot of clients that will ask me, what should I tell men that I'm looking for, when they ask me, like, what are you looking for in a relationship? What are you looking for? And I say, pretend what they're asking you for is what they're asking you is, what do you want to do with someone when you're dating? So instead of saying, I want to be married to someone, I want to have 3 kids, I want to live over here and have this house and all these things, just say, I really want to go to, concerts over the summertime that I think would be fun. I love to go and look at art. I love to, whatever those things are, because that person, it's like, they don't really need to know all of those things. You don't know if you're going to be doing those things with them anyway. Mm-hmm. So it's like, some things can develop organically. It doesn't need to be kind of like pushed, or like, here is my dossier, you slide yours across the table and then we'll decide if we think
whether it works.
And I think for some people, if that works for them, that's great, but it doesn't leave a lot of energy for like receptivity. Mm-hmm. It doesn't leave a lot of energy for things to just kind of grow naturally. There's not a lot of pleasure or joy or fun or spontaneity in that. And we need to realize that the energy of love is not about hustle. Mm-hmm. It's really not about those things. And it's, I think, sometimes hard to get out of that mindset, especially for women who are really high achieving, is this idea of like, I don't want anybody to waste my time. Yeah, I'm like, I get that
a lot. Yeah.
I understand that, but there's also the idea of making room for things to develop.
Well, that's it. And I always tell them, you need to be a little flexible here. Otherwise, nothing's going to
be hard.
And then you're going to tell me, gee, why haven't I found anybody in 20 years? Well, could be,
maybe you're not letting yourself be found, or maybe you did find somebody, but you were like, oh, but I had these 10 things on my list, or I had these 3 deal breakers and whatever it was. It's like, I get that. I understand that. But sometimes you don't really know someone well enough to make a decision yet, because it's like, you have to give things time. Sometimes it's what you're bringing to it, right? Which is this idea of like, I am just going to lay it all out and those kinds of things. Other times it's like, just that idea of assuming a relationship because you went out on the first date.
Yeah.
So like those people who are going, but he didn't text me, he didn't this and he didn't that. It's like, well, if you were expecting him to break up with you, because sometimes they'll say, he didn't even text me to tell me he didn't want to take me out anymore. And I'm like, well,
hello?
He doesn't need to break up with you because you weren't in a relationship.
I know that, what it is, that they just get so involved and they take it so personal.
Yeah.
And I tell them, oh, Gamai, don't take it so personal. It probably just didn't, it didn't click, and it's okay. Yeah. Or may not have clicked now. And maybe, 8 months down the road, he may call you for some reason and say, I'm sorry I never called, but, let's maybe go out again. You never know. That happened to, I married 54 years, a very long time. And to the same person. So I don't know.
That's lovely.
With him and I this is going back in the 60s, 1960s. He was a blind date. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really like him. And I went out with him maybe 2 times, and I said, nah, it's not I don't like him. And about maybe 6 months later, out of the clear blue sky, he called and he said, would you like to go to it's the World's Fair at this time in Queens. This is how long ago it was. And I figured, well, That's why not? So I did. And that's when that was the right timing. It wasn't the timing then, but then for some reason, something made him call me so many months later. And then
Yeah.
then it was fine. So
It's that thing of someone from your past that you didn't feel that romantic connection to, and then they come back. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. Yeah. He was someone from the past. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The third way that I've seen that happens, and I'm always so tickled whenever I see this happen, is like when someone, like they have someone in common and they just didn't know. So like I had a client who, her aunt was in line at the dry cleaners, and there was just a really nice man who like let her come in front of him and was just chatting with her, and she was like, he is an attractive younger man with wonderful manners. And she was like, this is my niece's phone number, you need to give her
that's
and they got married. He did call her niece and they got married.
You never
that was
know.
like 5 years ago.
Isn't it fun? Yeah, let that intuitive abilities kick in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully she asked him if he wasn't married.
I don't think she even thought about that. I think she probably did the surreptitious glance at the hand, and this was like, single too? Okay, here's my niece's phone number.
Yeah, you just, it's you never know. And that happened to a client of mine. Her father would he was in a car club of some sort, and he met this guy, and they were chatting for a long time, and he actually gave him his daughter's phone number. And then he told his daughter, I gave this guy your number, and she was all angry and upset with him. Why did you do that? You don't even know who he is. Well, they met for coffee, and lo and behold, after dating and going out now, they ended up getting married. So you never know where that call can, or if somebody, I think my daughter or my son would have probably killed me if I did that. But to be open like that is a beautiful thing. You just never know.
You really don't. I think so much of it is about just like getting our ducks in a row energetically, and then just being open, like you said, being open and flexible, because there are so many ways that God, that the universe, can bring good into our lives. There are so many ways that we cannot imagine, that if we tried to plan it out and say it has to come like this, and it has to look like this, and it has to come by this time, and it's like that's where we seem to run into so many difficulties. But
just allow it to be, and allow it to happen. And that's why I tell everyone, when you're not really looking, is all of a sudden is when it'll happen. And just be open, and don't have all these restrictions or expectations. Just go with the flow. And
deal with what's going on in your energy.
Oh yeah.
Deal with what your fears are about that situation, because that's what you're going to keep attracting, is the thing that you're afraid of attracting, until you clear out that fear, because of focusing on that. It's like, if you're afraid of getting hurt, then focus on healing that fear. It's like
the law of attraction.
Yeah. And we help it with energy. Like, it's working by default all the time.
Yes.
So we can either use it intentionally, or we can just kind of get run over.
Most of the time we get run over, but which isn't good, but it happens. But then again, I feel it's a lesson that maybe we need to, look at, what is it that I am doing wrong, or what is it that I'm not being open to? Why am I, constantly attracting the same type?
What is this pattern? And sometimes it helps when people say, well, when my girlfriends and I have similar problems, but it's like, but I am always attracting this particular type of person. It's like, okay, well, that pattern's consistent for you, so that lets us know where we should start. Or sometimes it's even just a thing of like, things like I was saying about what they grow up seeing. It's a thing of like maybe having an abandonment wound, or it might be a thing of thinking that they always have to prove their worth.
Exactly. Which is sad, but it does happen.
Yeah. And especially, I think it happens so often with women who are high achieving, with women who are very successful, like we were talking about before. I see that so often that it's like the thing that's propelling them to get to that success, it can be a double-edged sword. So part of it is that it's really motivating them to be high achieving in terms of their career, but it also makes them feel a little bit like they don't deserve unless they're working really hard. Like they have to prove, that they deserve to have things. And if you feel like you have to prove that you deserve to have things, it's really hard to receive. And love is about receiving,
It's all about, love and accepting who you are, accepting yourself and loving yourself for who you are. Because how can you love someone else? Or how can you expect somebody to love you if you don't love you?
Yeah, that's hard.
It's hard. I know.
And I know that there are some things, I always talk to my clients about this, and I love hearing from them after they're in their relationships. Like when we've worked together, now they're in the relationship they want to be in, because we always talk about how there are certain things that we are going to work with, we're going to heal together. But then there are some things that will be healed once they're in the actual relationship, right? Because it's really hard sometimes for people to believe. It's hard for someone to believe that you can have a partner who consistently chooses you until you have a partner who consistently chooses you. Sometimes that's really hard to believe, or that like you can learn lessons about love from a place that feels good. Like not all of your love lessons are going to be painful. Some of them are actually going to be wonderful, and sometimes they can't learn those things until they're actually in that relationship. And I love that, because it means that they didn't have to, it's like we were saying, they didn't have to be 100% healed. They didn't have to be perfect to be able to get into that healthy relationship,
There's no such thing as 100% perfect.
It's not possible. It's not possible, Barbara. It's not, none of us can do it.
I say I may be about 85%. Okay.
On a good day after coffee, I would probably agree. Maybe 85.
Yeah, I'd say there's
maybe
still a
80.
Lot more. Yeah, probably more towards 80. Some maybe even 75. But I still do my healing every night on myself, though.
Exactly. Right.
And I say, okay, all right. I'm really trying. Or sometimes when the lessons come, and a few times I say, all right, I've heard you. I've helped me. Could we stop it, please?
Can I have a breather? I'm trying to integrate these lessons, but I just need to catch my breath.
Need a little, just be a little gentle.
I remember before I was healing professionally, I would be in just kind of like standard admin sorts of jobs before I was like, while I was working on my degree and all of those things. And I would always have a situation where I would stop. I would know I was meant to move on from the place that I was working at, but I would just get kind of comfortable. And I wouldn't really think of anything else. And what I found was it would always become so uncomfortable that I couldn't stay there. And I finally made an agreement with God where I said, look, as soon as you show me that I need to move, I will move on. You don't have to make it super uncomfortable anymore. I promise I will listen the first time.
It's funny because it's all life's lessons. And sometimes, I always say we need to listen to that voiceless voice that always tells us and talks to us, but we don't listen.
I love
and then
that voiceless voice.
It's like, why didn't I do this before? Well, maybe you should have just listened to that feeling that you get. A lot of us don't.
I love the way you put that voiceless voice.
Oh yeah, it's a voiceless voice. Trust me, I've heard it many times and didn't listen. I got into a lot of trouble. I listen now and I tell it, I hear you, I am listening, and there's no more doubting.
Yes. 10-4.
Yes.
Message received.
Oh yeah, and sometimes it's like so loud, but we have a tendency to, say no, not right now.
It wouldn't be convenient for me to do this right now.
And then they say, "Oh yeah, you'll see."
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how life is. But Boy, I could talk to you forever here.
Yeah, me too.
Where do my listeners get a hold of you and your website or whatever you
Yeah.
want to give out?
Well, they can find me online. My website is carisamontooth.com. So it's CARISAMONTOOTH.com. And they can also find me, I have a free ebook for people that's about healing those wounds after a breakup. And it's called The Heartache Cure. So if they go to theheartachecure.com, they can get that as well.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll put those links on the bottom of all this, and this way they can find you.
Yeah.
Boy, I could have you on again because we need to talk a lot more. I think.
I feel like that too. I'm like, next time we should get some coffee and
I know. I mean, we're both in California and not too far away from each other. So that you got it. That's a deal.
Yeah, let's do that. That would be lovely.
Yeah, it would be because I have a feeling we have a lot in common and both healers. And I'm a 3 generation, grandma and great grandma.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, all from Istanbul. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, so it's always been with me. And I, like what you said, everybody thinks we're weird, but we're not weird.
We're not weird.
We're not
And we
weird.
come from generations of spiritually awake women. I think that's such a gift.
Yes, big time. So Carrisa, one more time for your website.
It's CarisaMontooth.com. So it's CarisaMontooth. And they can also schedule a time to talk with me through there. If they go to, I think it's Amor. I have a little link that says Amor at the top.
There you go. That's ideal.
Right.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Boy, I appreciate it this time, believe me. And
Me too. Me too. What a pleasure.
To my listeners, I really hope you heard what you needed to heal. And what you needed to heal and to hear, actually. And, a real big thank you to Carrisa. And, thank you for being here today. And I actually want to express my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you, my listeners, and especially to my beautiful guest today, Carrisa. And your presence and commitment to your own growth and empowerment actually truly inspires me every single day. So just keep nurturing your positive thoughts and your self-belief, for they are the keys to unlocking your full potential. So, embrace the challenges as opportunities and trust in the beautiful, unique soul that each and every one of you are. And always remember that your time to shine is not a distant, dream. It's a reality waiting to be lived. So, embrace it, embody it, and allow your light to shine, and allow your light to shine within you and to the world around you. So, thank you so much for joining me today on the Spiritual Warrior Coach podcast. And until we meet again, stay empowered, stay inspired, and keep being the spiritual warrior that you are. So with love and with light, this is Barbara Savin signing off. Bye.